Hey, welcome back to the channel and another puzzle. So this one we've got is called D6 Killer by NurglesGift. And let's just get right into these rules instead of having some lengthy intro. So what do we say? We got normal Sudoku rules apply, and this is going to be a 6x6 Sudoku. So we've got every row, every column, and every 2x3 box contains the digits 1 through 6 once each. We have any two cells separated by a king's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So what that means is a king can move one place in any direction. So if this was the digit right here, that was whatever this is, none of these could be same digit to go along with any of your typical Sudoku rules. Digits cannot repeat inside a cage. These are killer cages. So these 4 digits, whatever they are, do not repeat at all. And then we have cage totals equal the highest digit in the cage times 2. Or in other words, the rest of the digits must equal the highest digit of the cage. So what that means is, let's say this was, let's say there was a 4 in this cage right here, and 4 was the highest digit. That means the entire cage must equal 8. So the highest digit times 2, everything else would then equal 8 as well, because you'd have to double that digit. So fairly simple, but slightly interesting. I don't think I've seen a specific killer cage Sudoku that has that specific rule set. So let's get into this one and see where we go. So where would be the best place to look? And that's a bit of a tough one because there's no obvious information in this Sudoku. Now, I have to remember it's 1 to 6. So, is there ever a possibility of there being a 6 in a cage? So if there is a 6, well, yeah, there is a possibility. If it's a 4-cell cage, you could have a 6 in the cage. Because you'd have to have the 6 in the cage plus 3 other digits that equal 6. So that'd be 1, 2, 3. Now, if we had a 3-cell cage, we could still have a 6 because you could have a 6 and a 5, 1, or a 4, 2. So that doesn't do anything there because they're all 2s or 3s. So that doesn't rule anything out, which is interesting. I thought that might have been a good place to get going. What's next that we could possibly look at? I think the king's move isn't going to come into play until we start getting something. Maybe we can do, what is the lowest digit that could, highest digit, that's the way you can look at it, that could be in a 4-cell cage. So we said 6 would work. Would 5 work? We have a 5. We need the other 3 digits to equal 5, and that would never work. You can't make 3 digits equal 5. So then that kind of proves the opposite of what I was originally looking at, that there has to be a 6 in each of these 4-cell cages, which means these two are not 6. Now, if we have a 6 in the 4-cell cage, we just said the other 3 digits must equal 6. So these have to be from 1, 2, 3, and 6. So do these. That's something, which means we've got 4s and 5s in the rest of these digits, or these cells, excuse me. Now, does the king's move come into play on where these digits could be? And I don't believe they do because they're offset just enough. So like this digit, this could be the 6. None of these would be the 6, but then this could be. So I don't think we can use that set just yet. What else do we have? We know these have to be different digits. So one of these is a 4, one of these is a 5. Maybe I can mark those just to start with. We'll make them green and yellow. What am I doing? Sorry, that's yellow. That's green. That's green. It might come into play. It might not. But let's just mark them for now to make sure if they do come into play, we'll already have it figured out. Now, we know this has to either be 4 or 5. Is that same with this one in a 3-cell cage? Is there something there we can use? if we had a 5 in a 3-cell cage, the other two digits would have to equal 5, which is possible. If we have a 4 in a 3-cell cage, the other two digits would have to equal 4, and that would work as well. So I'm not sure if that's going to be super helpful. Now, in this one, we know we have to have a 1, 2, 3, and 6 because we were at a 4, 5 pair. Can we rule out any number? And I don't think we can. Because if we once again, if we had a 6 in here, we could just have a 5, 1, or a 4, 2. And that would leave these being whatever the opposite digits are down here. Can't quite exactly say what they would be because it would depend on what their 4 or their 5s are. Well, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 6 here. I just saw that, so that's a quad. So these are 4 and 5. Now this one has to be yellow because of our king's move. We can't make this green because they would be within each other's view. So let's do that. That continues. So now we know we've got 9 in this cell. We can't have a 6 here because that would mean we'd have to get up to 12. Did you guys hear? I didn't put my phone on mute, so I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Hopefully not. Let me put that on silent. Where was I? It can't be a 6, like I was saying, because if this is a 6, this whole thing would have to equal 12, and we have 6 plus 9, which is way too big. This can't be 4 or 5, clearly. It has to be something low, so either 1, 2, or 3. Now, can we rule out what that specifically is? So we've got a 9. One of these has to be the high digit. So we're either equaling 10, which means this would have to be a... Wait, didn't I just say that didn't work? If we have... Maybe I was wrong on the 6. Let's go back and look at this real quick. I got distracted. Maybe I didn't do the right bit of logic. If we have a double 5... No, because a 6 can't work because that would be the double. I was right, okay. So if we have a double 5, it would mean we'd have to have a 10. This would be a 4. This would have to be a 6, which we just said does not work. So this is a double 4, which means we have to have 8 total. The other digit is a... Wait, that doesn't work either. What am I doing wrong? The highest digit is a 5 in this case. If we have a 4-5 pair. Let's look at this one more time before we determine what could be. If this is a 6, the 6 would be the double. These would have to equal 6, and they do not, so it cannot be a 6. Now we know there's no 6, there has to be a 5. But if there's a 5 here, it's a double. So the total would have to be 10. Oh, I just couldn't add. Why am I being stupid? I was thinking the other two digits had to be 10. You know how it works with me, guys and gals. So we know there is a 5 that is the highest digit. Therefore, the entire thing has to equal 10. There's a 4 here. 4 with 1 would equal 5, which would equal 10. So this is a 1. Okay. A little bit of stupidity got out in my way there, but we've got it taken care of. This can't be 1. So now one of these has to be 1, so neither one of these is a 1, which forces this to be a 1. Now that can't be 1, so this is a 1. There we go. Now we've got a little something going. And I don't know that we have enough just yet to determine where our other 1s go. Actually, we probably do. Because I was just pointing out, this one can't be here by normal Sudoku rules. It can't be here by King's move. Now, this one is seeing all of these. But this one here also sees this one by King's move. So we have a definite 1 in both of those, which creates an X-wing, which means we can't have a 1 in either of those. If you hadn't seen what an X-wing is before, so if let's say you just pick one of these two, which one do you want to have to be the 1? If this is a 1, that forces this to be a 1. Therefore, you can't have a 1 in either of those. If this is a 1, it forces this to be a 1, so neither of these can be a 1. So in either situation, you cannot have a 1 in any of these two. That's what the X-wing proves. Now, we also know there's a 1 here, so this can't be 1, so this is a 1. So we've got those 1s. Now we have to figure out some other stuff to get us through to the rest of the puzzle. Where do we do it? So we know the 5 is the highest digit. these have to be from 2, 3, 6. Now, is that going to give us anything, like in terms of where can the 6 be? Let's think about it for a second. And I was looking down here real quick too, just to make sure that the king's move wasn't causing a 6 to be anywhere, but it is not that I see right off the bat. So let's look back at this cage. Can we have a 6 in this cage? If we have a 6 in this cage, the total cage has to equal 12. The other two digits have to equal 6. So we could do a 4-2. That would work. If we didn't have a 6 in this cage, the 5 would be the highest digit. We'd have to have the 2, 3 equal the 5. So then that would work too. So there's nothing in this cage that's going to tell us which one is correct. So what's the next look we're going for here? Well, we know we don't have enough information yet to determine these guys because there's not enough king's move information. We know both of these cages equal 12. We don't know what this cage equals because we just proved that there's two different ways of going about it. This empty cell, what does it prove, if anything? Now, let's just give it a value and work through it. Let's say this is a 6. That forces this to be a 2, 3, which means this has to be a 5. Now, if this is a 3, this is forcing this to be a 2, 6, which the 6 would be the highest, so that would force this to be a 4. If this is a 2, this would be a 3 and a 6, and then we'd have to have another 3 here, so this cannot be a 2, which means there has to be a 2 here. So it's, once again, we either have a 2, 3, or we have with a 6 in it, or we have the 2, 4 with the 6 in it. No, that's not right, is it? 2, 3 with a 5 in it, or 2 and 4 with a 6 up here. Either way, we don't have a 2 down here. So, where is that getting us? Because that might have been a lot of fapping about to get almost nothing. One of these has to be a 2. Is that useful in any way, shape, or form? I'm not necessarily seeing it, because if this is a 2, this is a 2. If this is a 2, one of those is a 2. Okay. Do we have to move off of these? Because it seems like we need to have something cross-referencing from the side to get back into here. So we know, well, let's look at a 3 cage with a known 1 in it. What could it be? Well, it could have a 6 in it, and there would have to be a 5 paired with it. If it had a 5 in it, I'm talking about the highest digit at the moment. If it has a 5 in it, and it was the highest digit, this would have to be a 4. If it had a 4 in it, and that was the highest digit, this would have to be a 3. If it had a 3 as the high digit, this would be a 2. And if it couldn't have a 2 as the highest digit ever. That did nothing. Okay. So what is next? Let me see. I'm sure you guys are seeing something here that I'm missing. But I will get to it eventually. Hopefully. What is it that I'm missing? Is it anything to do with the cages, per se? I mean, because clearly this couldn't be it couldn't have 3 as being the highest digit. Could it? Well, yeah, it could be, because you need the 2 would go with the 1 grid, so that's not correct. All we know is it can't have a 2 as the highest digit, because then you'd have to have 2 1s, which wouldn't make any sense anyway. Now, I don't think I can continue our little 4-5 foray just yet. Now we know. So what else do we have that's parent. We've got a 4 or a 5 in this cell. If we had, let's go back to kind of the logic I think we used over here to just see if we can poke any holes in here. I don't know that it will, but if we had a 6 in this, we would have to have a 4, 2, because obviously you can't use a 1. If we had the 5 as the highest digit, you'd have to have a 2, 3, because you couldn't have a 1. If you had a 4 here, you couldn't have 4 be the highest digit, so it would have to be like the 6, 2 that I said. And then again, what does that do for you? Now, can we look anywhere else in terms of how the king works? We know we can't have a green 4, 5 over here anywhere, so it has to be one of these. So let's start marking this up so I can see a little bit better. And we know these can't be the 4, 5 yellow, so one of these is a 4, 5 yellow. There's no 4, 5 yellow in any of those, so one of these is a 4, 5 yellow, which means none of these can be 4, 5 yellow by the X-wing that I explained previously, so that's not a 4, 5. So here we go, we've got a little something. And maybe this was the way to go about it previously, and I just didn't see it. 4, 5 can't be here, but that doesn't rule out any of these other ones. So that's not great. Well, actually it does, doesn't it? Let's look at this green 4, 5 after scratching my eye a little bit there. Look at this green 4, 5. These can't be 4, 5. A green 4, 5, just by plain Sudoku. Now, could this ever be a 4, 5 right here? A green 4, 5? Well, the answer is no, because it sees that one. And there's also another bit of information, which is actually what I was initially looking at. This, even if this didn't exist here, this couldn't be a green 4, 5. Because if it was, or is that true? If it was, would this have to be a 1? I know I don't need to go down this path of logic, but I want to do it just to clarify if it was a reasonable thing to look at. If this was a 4 or 5 pair, we'd already have 9. If it was a 4 and a 5, this would be a 3, because it'd have to be, this would be 8 totaled. If it was a 5 as the high digit, it'd have to be 10. Yeah, that could work again. So let's skip past that. I kind of drug you along for no reason to go into it when I could have done it easily, but you know, sometimes I like to complicate things. So let's put that in there. So we've got the same thing we just saw with the yellow 4, 5. We've got an X-wing. None of those can be 4, 5, so this has to be a green 4, 5. Now, there's going to have to be something else similar that we can pare this down. We have a 1 in here. We cannot have, so one of these two has to be a 6. Is that what I'm saying? I don't know why I just said that, but it just popped into my head that that was some sort of reasoning. If there was a 6 up here, it would be a 1 and a 6. And then we would have to have a 5 with it, so that does not work. So that is correct. I don't know why I just said that blatantly when I said, well, there can't be a 6 up here. I don't get it. Sometimes I don't understand my brain. Sometimes it works ahead of my own ability to speak, and sometimes I just speak out of turn. Anyway, you cannot put a 6 here, because once again, like I said, you'll have a 1-6 pair. The 6 is always going to be the highest digit, so then you also have to have a 5 to pair with your 1 to make the total kh equal 12. So that's correct. So one of these is a 6, which means this is not a 6. It's a little bit of information. Now, the same thing is going to occur if I put a 6 here. We've got a 1 already here. So the other digit has to be a 5. That doesn't work. So this is the 6. So there we go. There's a little something. So now we've got a 6. It is the highest digit, which means we have to add up to 12. So we either need to have a 2 or a 1 here, which works perfectly fine. Now, these digits are from 1, 2, and 3. We know this isn't 1, so let's just get rid of that. We've got a 2, 3 pair, we've got a 4, 5 pair, and we've got our 1, 6 here. Now, that's all going to work just fine because we're going to have 3 as our highest digit, and the 1, 2 being what adds up to make it total of 6. Now this 6 here does see all of these, so there has to be a 6 down here. Not this one, clearly, because of normal Sudoku, but that rules out this being a 6. So now we've got a 6 up here in one of these two. One of these two is a 6. We don't know down here just yet. Now, we know that none of those can be 6s. I don't know that we can rule out 6 in these 3 spots just yet. And we can't do our little 1, 6 trick that we did up here, because this could very well be a 6. Well, it can't have a 6 in here. I was going to say we could have, theoretically, you could have a 6 with this one and use the 5 to pair with it, but you can't have a 6 because there's a 6 looking right at it, you dummy. So we can't have, like I said, we can't have a, can we have a 3 here? If we have a 3 here, I'm kind of going through the digits from low to high. We can't have a 1 obviously here because it's already 1 there. If we had a 2 here, it would force this to be a 3. 2 and 3 would force both of these to be 1. That doesn't work. If we had a 3 here, that would force these to be 1 and 2. Is that correct? Let me just make sure that I'm not going in the wrong direction as well. If that's correct, we can't have that as well either. Let me just think about it for a second. If this was a 2, we'd then have a 1, 2 pair. This would have to be a 3. No other way to go about it. If this was a 3, go away. I've got a Zoom call in a half hour. I'm hoping I can get this done before then. I would sure hope so. We've got, if this is a 3, this would be a 1, 2. 3 would be the highest digit. We couldn't do another digit higher. Well, we could do a 4, couldn't we? If 4 was, no. Yeah, if 4 was the digit there. So we can't rule out the 3. Okay. So that was, I was hoping I could, but I can't. This one cannot be a 4 or a 5, so it's either a 2, 3, or 6. These have to be from 2, 3, and 6 because we've got the 4, 5, and the 1. This isn't a 6. Let's remove that. We need to have sets of 4s and 5s in both of these somehow. Now, if this was the 4, 5, that would work perfectly fine. We always have one of the 4 or 5s in here. Okay. There's some little thing I'm missing here, and it's probably quite obvious. I'm probably missing it because I'm trying to go as quickly as I can, which is never a good idea. So what am I missing? There has to be a 4 or a 5 down here. There has to be one there. We know all this. Stop saying the same things over and over. Where does the, well, it's like I said, this can't be a 4 or 5. Okay, I just wasn't paying attention. This can't be the yellow designation because it's not a 4 or a 5. So this is yellow, which means this is yellow and this is not. So these are 4 or 5, so this clearly can't be a 1. So this is 1. There we go. That's what I was missing. That was just clearly obvious. This has to be a 1. These are not 1s. So now we've got, I thought I clicked that away. Now we know this has to be a 12 set, a summed cage because we have 6 as the highest digit. We've got it once. This has to be 5 that goes with it. Now that's going to, not you, it's going to give us all these 5s. These are all going to be 4s. We can plop those in if I can stop misclicking. So we put the 4s in. Now that we've done all that, it's completely changed the space. Where's the next little section? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything that was obvious because our 4s are done, our 1s are done, our 5s are close to done. We know one of these sets is that. The 2s and 3s are still kind of hanging out there. I don't see Yeah, 2s and 3s are still hanging out there, and so is the 6. Okay, so now that we've got a 4 and a 1 here, that's got to be our next move, right? So we know we've already equaled 5. This either has to be a 5, so that it's so the whole thing equals 10, or it needs to be a 3, so that the whole thing equals 8, because the 4 would then be the highest digit. So those are either 3 or 5. These are from 2, 3, and 5. That's not helping as much as I thought it might. 2, 3, this is from 2, 3, and 6. Come on. I know there's something glaringly obvious here. Maybe it's the 2, 3s I need to color just to get an idea of what they are. Let's do that real quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And I think the answer there is not quite yet because they're not really matching up as these couple were, but then I can't get back down to here just yet. Okay. One of these has to be a 5. Just looking at Sudoku, we know one of these has to be 5. This one means a little bit more because we know there's a 5 in here. Now, if we know there's a 5 in here, can there also be a 6 in here? And the answer is no, because we'd have to put a 1 in it. So this is not 6, this is 6, which forces this to be 6. And that's going to force these to not be 6. This is not 6. Which means this is not 6. Get rid of this marcation. We cannot have a 6 in here. That's not 6. So this is 6, this is 6, and that's probably going to start breaking everything apart, because then this forces this to be a 6. So the 6s are all done. I'm going to get rid of these colors right now because they don't really come into play. They might if I get stuck again to finalize, but I don't think so. So we know this has to be a 5. So we'll get rid of our coloring there. We'll get rid of our coloring in there. And we'll put our 5 in here. Get rid of our 5s. Let's get rid of our flash because these are 5s. Okay. 1, 4, 5, and 6 are all done. So now we've got to figure out our 2 3s. And I think we've done it because we've got a 2 here. So this is 2, this is 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, and 2. And there we go. Looks as good as far as I can tell. So there we go. That worked out pretty well. Yeah, I got stuck a little bit when I was just trying to figure out where the right spot to look was, but hey, good puzzle. D6 Killer by NurglesGift. Hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, let me know in the comment section, or liking or subscribing, however you feel best to go about it. Anything you guys do of any of those things helps my channel greatly, and I appreciate it with the bottom of my heart when you do such things. So, once again, hope you guys enjoyed that one. I will see you in the next one, and just keep up doing what you guys do. Thanks. Bye.